You know, interestingly enough, watching the Astros and the Athletics play earlier in the day, because that's what I did, and then also watching the Yankees last night out in Petco Park, the ball was flying out of those stadiums for both teams, the Astros and the Yankees. I mean, bomb squads left and right, hitting home runs. Clint Frazier gets his first taste of it, and bam, right out of the gate, he hits one. I'll tell you, Aaron Boone pushed all the right buttons last night. When it's kind of interesting when I watch Gerrit Cole. I don't know. I feel like I want to see more out of him. I want to see less home runs. I think those are issues that he has had this year thus far, and he reminds me a lot of just like Noah Syndergaard in a way that he just wants to blow everybody away with a fastball. And
I don't know. I mean, I disagree. That first start was not like that. Maybe last night with a couple of home runs. And I do understand that, Gerrit Cole, paying him $330 million to be the thing that the Yankees haven't had in a while, which is that dominant number one starter. People are going to nitpick everything he does. But let's give a little bit of credit to the Rays, who were the best team in the American League all year in this shortened season and have played the Yankees really, really tough. I mean, Cole wasn't perfect, but he certainly did enough. He came out of the game with a lead. I mean, he certainly did enough to earn a win.
I know. I'm just saying, and G-Man Choi is a pain in the neck, right? I mean, he's just unbelievable. That kid's unbelievable. He had an error. I don't know if it was an error last night, but he made a play at first. He should have made a play at first base. But, the reason I'm saying this is because I feel like when Syndergaard is on, he's throwing 100 miles an hour and he's trying to blow everybody away. And that, to me, is what Gerrit Cole is as a pitcher. And it makes me even appreciate even more the contract that Jacob deGrom has. I mean, Jacob deGrom is a better pitcher than Gerrit Cole. I don't care what anybody says. And Jacob deGrom is and he is a pitcher. He's a guy who pitches between like 88 miles an hour and 98 miles an hour and moves the ball around. Throws a slider that is like can go from 97 to 91 miles an hour. He could place it anywhere he wants, and he is a pitcher. He thinks about how he pitches on the mound. I do like the fact that Gerrit Cole works fast. I like the fact that he's give me the ball and let me go. But then I think 9 years at that contract level and with the way that he throws, man, It is a calculated risk for sure for the Yankees. They've been down.
But there wasn't a single person that said, "Don't go out and get him. Whatever it takes, you had to go get him at the end of the year." And I do think he's a very, very smart and intelligent pitcher. I don't think he's someone that is not thinking about the whole process of pitching and the art of pitching, and he just relies on talent. I don't think he's that guy at all. I mean, he's got the talent, sure, and he's got the arm strength, but I don't think he's a guy that's just out there and not just like, I'm going to blow everybody away. If you hear him talk about pitching and trying to get better, I mean, that's all the Yankees talked about when they first signed him is how smart he is. So I don't know. I disagree.
He had 13 strikeouts against the Indians. It was a masterful performance. I don't know. I just feel like. Again, I am not the Yankee fan here, so I'm trying to speak objectively, and I'm not trying
talking
to be
Jacob deGrom this morning.
Yeah, I know, but
hi, my name is Boomer, and I love the Yankees.
God, here we go. And but it was great to see. It was great to see Clint Frazier do what he did. It was great to see Judge hit another home run. It was great to see the grand slam by Stanton. Boy, did he ever need it. I felt like, man, if somehow he would have struck out in that situation or, dribbled one or something like that, we would have been hearing about all that today. But the fact remains that grand slam shut the door and then allowed Chapman to go sit down and take it easy and be ready for tonight if they need him. But, again, Chad Green came in, did what he was supposed to do. Zach Britton did what he was supposed to do. This is the way the Yankees are supposed to do these things. Get to the seventh inning, get those guys out there, let them be the pitchers that they are capable of being. And if they have that part of it and they're able to sustain that part of it, I think, then they're going to be really difficult to deal with. But now this is where the rubber meets the road for the Yankees.
Oh, yeah. Right.
It's your second pitcher. It's Deivi Garcia. I kind of feel like this is Severino the first time he started.
Yes, I don't I know exactly the feeling that you have and that comparison that you're making. I have seen so much from Deivi Garcia at this young age, at 21 years old. And plus, this isn't your normal pressure-packed postseason start because you're not really on the road. There aren't any fans there. It's a totally different environment. It's a neutral location. So I think if there's any time to throw a 21-year-old into a situation like this where he's never pitched in a postseason game, it's right now. So it is a little scary to think that after Cole, now the guy you're relying on in Game 2 against Tyler Glasnow has been very good, is a 21-year-old who really had no experience at all until the shortened pandemic season. I mean, that's not exactly where the Yankees should be. They're the New York Yankees. There should be more. There should be more depth. There should be a lot there, and I understand why they moved Tanaka back. Because they want to give him an extra day with that whole rain delay thing, and he's responded well to extra days in the past. But, I mean, yeah, this is like make or break for a 21-year-old. It's going to show if he's got the stones in this type of situation, and this is a spot that I couldn't even imagine being in at his age with little experience that he's got.
As Ronnie Darling said last night, the Yankees have to win the games that Garrett Cole starts. They have to win those games.
Oh, yeah. And they have, and that's a good thing. And the Savages and all that other stuff, they're back. And I thought the home plate umpire was squeezing Britton a little bit last night. He was all over the place, and Aaron Judge got called out on strikes on 2 balls that were out of the strike zone. The guy is so big. I don't know why these umpires don't understand. Like how big he is and where his strike zone is in comparison to everybody else's. Yeah. It's like he goes up there and he's got the Jose Altuve strike zone. Sure. I mean, come on, man. Let's you gotta adjust, and I hate to see that because he is, and he's not going to complain. He was really pissed off last night, and I don't blame him. And the other thing too that keeps showing itself for the Yankees in unbelievable fashion is the defense of Gio Urshela. I mean, the guy is unbelievable. You have to admit that he is a better option all around than your little crush, Miguel Andujar. I mean, Gio Urshela has been great. He had that opportunity when, unfortunately, Andujar went down with the injury. He got the opportunity to play third base, and he has solidified himself there where you can't move him. You can't move him. He is such an important cog in this Yankee wheel. You cannot touch that guy. I mean, he to me is as important as any other player, outside of the big names and the Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton when they're on. I mean, he's amazing. He's absolutely amazing. He came out of nowhere, and he's someone that is he's your third baseman, and there's no discussion of it.
Dude, he's rolling around on his ass making plays, double plays, and throwing guys out at first base from his butt. I mean, it's unbelievable. That play last night was just simply amazing, and his defense is off the charts. And that is another feather in the cap of Brian Cashman. When you think of Luke Voit, you think of Urshela, you think of Didi Gregorius when they brought him over here, Aaron Hicks when they brought him over here, who had another great game last night. I mean, that is unbelievable professional scouting. That is knowing where players are available, and you can go steal them from these other franchises. I mean, because that's exactly what he did. That's what he did in so many different ways, whether it be Hicks, whether it be Gregorius, whether it be Urshela, or whether it be Voit. It's easy to go out and spend the big money because you have the money in your back pocket and you're the Yankees, and you can go get a Garrett Cole, you can get a Roger Clemens, you can go get, CC Sabathia and great players like that towards the middle of their career when they've already done it for other teams. And you could spend that money, and we always make fun of it. And, yes, that's true, and hopefully the Mets will do some of that now. But when you find those diamonds in a rough that turn out to be the players that we have seen, that is where the GM really, truly makes his money.
Yeah, and the one thing, and I've been a Garrett Cole defender here more than not, because I think that it's really, really easy to find the guy that signs the big contract and then put these expectations on him.
Stanton?
Oh, sure, right, of course.
Right.
But unreal expectations. And with Giancarlo Stanton, the expectations has been for him just to stay healthy and produce, for crying out loud. With Garrett Cole, Garrett Cole last night, people are going to say be better than you were. The Rays are a really damn good team. They were better than the Yankees the entire year, and when they got the lead back after the 2 homers, when Aaron Judge took the lead at 4-3, came in for 2 more innings or 3 more innings. That was the fourth, the bottom of the fourth, the
fifth.
He was
on a high wire act there. He was on, and he got the strikeout with the bases loaded. There's no question about that.
Yeah, 4, 5, 6. He was really good. Now, the one thing I would say was I wanted to see him come out for the 7th inning because he was at 96 pitches, and I wanted to see him at least start that inning because it felt like he was just, I don't know, he still hit the last pitch he threw in the bottom of the 6th was 99 miles an hour. And I just felt like he had more. Now, I understand you're up around 196 pitches. You got no days off. You want to bring him back on short rest. I mean, if he comes back and has a 5-6 pitch inning and he's dominating and guys are swinging at the first pitch or maybe even a 10-pitch inning, something crazy like that, the next you got to give him a shot. Then all of a sudden you're not worrying about Chad Green or anybody before Britton and Chapman, and you still could use him maybe on short rest for a potential Game 5. So I thought that was the one spot I wanted to see more from Garrett Cole, but I know he doesn't make that call. That is the Yankees. That is the analytics. That is Brian Cashman. That is Aaron Boone coming together.
It's collaboration. It's
a collaborative effort.
Yes, it is.
To make those decisions. But that was the one. It worked out. Chad Green ended up being good, and it didn't matter because they tacked on in the 9th, and it was fine. But, hey, they're up 1-0, and now this is where it really starts. This is why I feel like the Yankee fan this morning, I could just tell from the ones I was talking to last night, it's starting to turn. Like they were a little worried, ending up in the 5 seed, facing the Rays, who had beaten them 8 out of 10, a little bit concerned about it. The Indians, good pitching, all of that stuff, but now it's starting to turn into that cockiness. It's starting to turn into the cockiness. You just got to stop because there's a major, major work to do against this Rays team that's damn good.
The Rangers went into the Toronto bubble to play the Carolina Hurricanes, and they owned them during the regular season. And all Carolina did was sweep them out of the Toronto bubble and the play-in series for the NHL, which ultimately gave the Rangers, the number 1 overall pick for tonight's NHL draft, and we'll draft Alexei Lafreniere. Get used to that name, Al Dukes, because we're going to be saying that a lot around here, just like Capo Caco. But the point
nobody cares about hockey, Boomer.
Shut up! And by the way, but that's the Rays. The Rays came into this owning the Yankees during the regular season. It doesn't mean anything when the Yankees are healthy and they have the lineup that they have. And they are the Savages. There's no question. I mean, look at these. I mean, it's unbelievable. DJ LeMahieu is, ridiculous. I don't know what. You can go up and down this lineup and point out all these guys. I mean, Gardner as well. I mean, he takes a hit, obviously, on the knee last night. And everybody was like, I can't believe, not everybody, but even they were talking about Brian Anderson and Ron Darling were talking about it. You take Voit out of the lineup because you want to have defensive maneuvering and Tyler Wade at second base, and he makes a play, and probably would have been a double play had Glaber been able to get the ball out of his glove. But you take Voit out of the lineup, then, of course, Tyler Wade's going to get up, and, I mean, he works a walk. I mean, it's just everything that Aaron Boone did last night worked.
Yeah, it did.
Everything he did worked last night.
So far, the entire postseason, even in the Indian series, where he went back to Gary Sanchez in that game, too, and he ended up being really, really good. So I'm curious to see. By the way, there was a couple instances. I know a cross-up can happen to anybody, but Higashioka, with the bases loaded, when Garrett Cole was still in, that high wire act that you were talking about.
Yep.
Bases loaded, gets crossed up, is expecting a fastball, gets that curveball. It's a strike, by the way, but the umpire's just so, screwed up by what happened, and Higashioka somehow catches that. That ball would have bounced right off of Gary Sanchez's mask and up into the stands, and then the Rays would have scored a run. You know that would have happened in the same situation.
So a couple things, about the decisions that they're making here. I think that they felt like they were going to win this game with Garrett Cole. That's why they come back with Deivi Garcia. They didn't want to put him in Game 3 or Game 4. Let's get him in Game 2. There's a little less pressure, as you said, and aptly pointed out, especially coming off of his last outing. It wasn't great. The other collateral damage here, which I don't know if we'll hear about it, but I have to believe that J-Happ is pissed off. I have to believe.
Does he even get pissed off, that guy?
Yes, he
looks
does.
Such a flatliner.
No. He got pissed off because he felt like the Yankees were controlling his innings, so he didn't have the option.
There was. You're right. You're right. There was that.
So, I just got to believe. Now, he's not going to say anything because they're winning, but I got to believe the fire in his gut. And he pitched well here towards the end of the year, and I thought he was definitely going to be. Well, he probably would have been used in the Cleveland series. But where is he? He is just disappeared all of a sudden.
Well, I'll give you what Aaron Boone would tell a pissed off J-Happ. We got you lined up for Game 4, which is a potential elimination game, or, for either us or for them. So this is before the series starts. This is, which is actually still could be possible, I guess, for both teams now in a Game 4. So that's when we need you. You're a veteran. You're a guy who can take these long layoffs and figure it out. For us, we feel like we need to get the young kid in a situation where it's a Game 2 where the series isn't on the line. That's where we need you. And obviously, Tanaka's going to pitch ahead of you because he's Tanaka, and this is what he does in the postseason. He's been here forever. So we need you for Game 4. So zip it and go out there and pitch it.
He hasn't said
anything. That's the thing. But if he came into his office and complained, that's the answer. I mean, that Game 4 start's going to be huge for him.
Yeah, right. But he's not going to come in and complain. I'm just saying, I know the inner fire is burning because of the way that, look, any athlete is going to feel this way. They want the ball. That's why they are where they are, and they make huge money, and they want the opportunity to show themselves, especially in big spots. And maybe Game 4 will be the big spot if it gets to Game 4, but I just know that there's a burning fire inside of him. I just know it has to be, and maybe it'll be something that's talked about in some way, shape, or form. But right now with the way that the Yankees are hitting, Gary Sanchez can't complain. Jay Happ can't complain. Those two guys can't complain. But I know that both of those players want to be playing. They want to be playing.
How about the scenario for Jay Happ? Let's say, and this is not touching the money, I'm just talking about potential things that could happen. Let's say the Yankees don't lose a game in this series. Jay Happ doesn't even get a chance to start.
Right, I know.
In the DS, and then he's off all the way until a potential start in the ALCS, which already Eddie in my ear this morning during the last part of the warm-up show, he's already got it as Yankees-Astros, and he said that he's going to have to root for the cheating Astros.
All right.
Because he's still not, which to me is going to be really interesting because, of course, unless you're a Yankee fan, everybody else hates the Yankees unless you're a Yankee fan, and then the Astros have become the most hated team in baseball. So what does the rest of the country do that's interested in this series? I think the Yankees become America's team. That's what I think happens.
This is why I think 3 out of the 4 series in Major League Baseball are unbelievable because of the undercurrent that surround the two teams that are playing in the series. And, whether it be the Astros, the A's, the Rays, and the Yankees, or the Padres and the Dodgers, I mean, it's 3 just great matchups for all the reasons that we've talked about, the intensity, the hatred, the disgust. And then if we get to the ALCS and it's Yankees-Houston, oh, my God, it'd be unbelievable.
It would be.
It will be unbelievable. And then if it's the Braves and the Dodgers, which most likely it will be, unless, of course, Miami and those guys figure out something. I don't know if they can. The Braves are just loaded. They're loaded. They're another loaded team. So you could have, look, Houston, who obviously lost Garrett Cole, doesn't have Verlander, so they're not the same team that they were last year. The Dodgers are loaded. They got pitching, out the wazoo. They got a great lineup with Mookie Betts in the middle of that lineup now. And then, of course, you got the Braves with, all that young talent that the Braves have, and they have a solid pitching staff, too. So 3 out of the 4 teams that could make it to the championship series, are 3 of the best teams, most spending teams in the league.
Now, I know I just told Yankee fans to not touch the money and not get cocky, and I'm about to talk about them in the World Series. But here's the point. This could be one of the coolest runs for opponents that we have seen for the Yankees if they can get this thing done. Because you got the Rays, who you had a problem with this year, who beating the brakes off you, and then you had a fight with them and everything else, and the manager was calling you out and threatening that he had a stable of guys who would throw baseballs at your head 100 miles an hour.
Well, there were a couple of high and tights last night.
There were, certainly. So you have that. And then after that, the potential for the Astros, who you can't stand. You've had some Twitter stuff back and forth. That Correa, CeCe Sabathia's going to join us tonight. Yeah, Judge has gone back and forth with them, who was on those teams, of course, now retired, said, shut the bleep up, you mother bleeper, whatever he called Correa. So you have that, and then the potential for a Dodgers matchup in the World Series would be one of the coolest runs. Now, there's a long, long way to go, but if it ended up working out that way, that's a hell of a lot of fun. Even in a shortened season like this, it's going to feel different. I don't care. Even if it's not home games, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch if it ends up playing out that way. But still, we're only 1 game in to the ALDS.
When do we have CeCe Sabathia on?
9:10.
Oh, is that today? He's coming on today?
He's coming on
he
today,
knows this is an actual radio show, not a podcast, so he can't be dropping F-bombs all over the place.
I think he does understand that.
He does understand that.
Yes.
Okay, real quickly, in regards to the football games last night, I have to say this, and it showed itself last night in so many different ways, that the New England Patriots took one for the NFL yesterday. They took one for the NFL, given all that they had to go through to get to Kansas City to play a football game. And about 5 of their players looked like they had just gotten off the plane to play because they should have had at least 2 interceptions. Brian Hoyer looked like he forgot how to play football.
God.
He was awful last night, and the decision at the end of the first half to take a sack and not line up at least for a field goal without understanding how much time's on the clock and that you have no timeouts is just inexcusable. And then they finally benched him for Jarrett Stidham in a very difficult spot for the young man Stidham, but he did throw a touchdown pass, got the game close. But everybody who watched last night's game needs to take a page out of the New England Patriot defense of how to frustrate Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, they couldn't do it for 4 quarters because that's the issue. It's the same thing as the Super Bowl.
First of all, the officiating was horrific last night. The Patriots, Brian Hoyer was just abysmal. I mean, it's one thing to throw an interception. You're trying to be aggressive. You throw the ball down the field, and it's an interception. I think most coaches could live with 1 or 2 of those.
Yeah.
But the mistake at the end of the first half and to hold on to the ball and to get a ball stripped from you.
The Edelman one with when Stidham was in. I mean, that was.
But that's on Edelman. That's not. That's
I
not
know.
on
I know it wasn't. I didn't say it was. I'm just saying when that's why I called it the Edelman one.
Yeah.
Was really bad. I mean, that was awful. He's looking downfield before he catches the ball. Boom! It's a pick 6, and that's it. The game's over. The covering hope that we had for the Patriots was over.
Do you realize that the Patriots ran for 186 yards last night?
Yeah.
They everything they did, with the exception of some mind-numbing decisions and plays by Brian Hoyer, they were right in that game. They were right in that game. So this
is the way I see it with the Chiefs, because the NFL, we all know, it's the NFL. It's tough. It's hard every week. So the Chiefs had one of these games in the Super Bowl, and then they woke up and Patrick Mahomes figured it out. They had another one of these games against the Chargers, where Justin Herbert started out of nowhere, and the Chargers were winning that game the entire game, and then in the fourth quarter, they woke up, he threw that ridiculous touchdown pass to Tyreek Hill. And then last night, same thing, getting frustrated, getting the ball run on them, and then, of course, eventually that offense figures it out, and they end up winning the game. So it's almost like the Chiefs are so friggin' scary that even when they're getting frustrated, and even when things aren't going their way, they still find ways to win. In 3 different examples, it's just good luck trying to beat that team.
But the opportunities the Patriots had last night, and it was so unpatriot-like. I mean, McCourty had an interception. Jackson should have had an interception. There was a dopey call by the referee where Patrick Mahomes actually threw an interception in the backfield, but they called him down by contact. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Then that was the play where the Chiefs ran, I think, the fastest punt that I've ever seen in my life. Because
he tweeted that out.
Right, because Andy Reid didn't want Bill Belichick throwing the red flag, because they actually, according to Gene Steratore on CBS, and I agree with Gene, but then again, you listen to Tony Correnti, the official that was doing the game last night, the referee that was doing the game last night, what Gene Steratore said, that they could have given the ball to the Patriots. Tony Correnti said after the game that he wouldn't have given the ball to the Patriots, that he ruled Patrick Mahomes down. If that's any other quarterback, he's not down. And here's one other question for you. If Patrick Mahomes were the one that it came down with the COVID-19, do you think they play the game last night?
That's a great question. I mean, Cam Newton is a superstar, but Patrick Mahomes is obviously the face of the league right now.
Right.
Wow.
You know what today is? Today's Alexei Lafreniere Day and Yankee Day, as we got another Yankee
I didn't even
game.
answer the question. You already jamming this Ranger stuff down
I don't care. It doesn't matter.
Don't ask me the question, Eddie. You're sitting there asking me the question. I can't even answer.
I got to jam that in there wherever I can today.
Yeah. All right. Very good. And I do think they would have played the game. That's my answer.
Okay.
I think they would have played the game.
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the red bell so you're notified when we have new content.